Okay, welcome back to the grind. I hope that the audio is working well. Please let me know in the comments if it is not. Um, this is going to be a bit of a different kind of video. I'm going to use this live stream as a way to share the information like a regular video, like I would in a regular video. But after sharing the content and the information, we'll have time to discuss things and then maybe go into Atlas as well and kind of show some of the examples of what these changes will be. So um, I'll try to keep up with the chat while we go, but most of the conversation will probably occur after we go through all these details. So there's been a lot of updates on the forums. If you don't follow the forums, it is a good place to go. There have been a lot of things suggested and a lot of discussion about those things that were suggested. A lot of negative feelings about certain um, discussions and a lot of positive feelings. Turn the volume up. All right, let's see if I can. Not sure if I can do that. Let me see here. Okay, is this better at all? Let me know if it's better, and I'll try to talk a little bit louder as well. Let me just see here if I am. All right, I wonder, is that better? Maybe that's better. Hopefully that's better. So let's go into the details now. So this is the most recent update, and it seems like they're actually pretty sure about several changes that they're going to make, and then there's a couple changes that will be coming later, and we'll see if those actually come out the way they have suggested they will at this point. There is still time for things to change. All right, I'm glad that's better. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first thing, the first wave is the current season changes that will be coming with the next update. I assume that they will come out with the change of events, but it could come out even sooner than that. So one of the big changes they're making is with conquering a castle. They're going to remove the penalties for conquering a castle because currently you lose up to about 10% of the resources that have been spent to level up infrastructure. And that was a huge deterrent to conquering a castle. And so they're removing that, which I think this is a great step because now, I mean, if somebody's built up the infrastructure and that actually incentivizes you to want to go take that castle from them. So that's a good change. I think that's a positive change. There won't be any loss in the levels of the infrastructure. It will all remain the same. And they're changing the way that conquest works. So I think this is also a positive change. I guess previously people were not like super into Atlas. I don't know all the details and all the strategies, so forgive me on that. I'm going to do my best though. So I guess people, in order to stop a conquer from happening, they would just repeatedly send Primarchs with 500 troops on it to defend. And now I've actually had thought about this in the past just to slow them down because then they have to kill off those troops, right? And if you have I don't know, like 20 or 30 Primarchs with 500 troops, that takes a lot of effort. And then once that's killed off, you just send another one in. And each player can be doing that with 3 different Primarchs. And the problem is you have to actually do the attack because if you just, I guess the hit and quit technique, where if there's not very many troops, you just kind of join the fight and cancel the fight and you take the losses from your own troops, but you can kill off some of their troops. But if you do that with 500 troops on the enemy, it actually is a significant loss to your own troop count. So that was actually a very effective strategy is what it sounds like. Now what they're changing with that is they're going to just change the kind of rules around the mechanics around conquering a castle. So you can conquer a castle if these 3 criteria are met. You have killed off all the guards, so there's no castle guards present on that castle. And then your Primarch has more troops than all the defending 5-team alliance troops present. So if you have your 5-team alliance defending with you, that adds to the difficulty of conquering the castle. So all the troops that your 5-team alliance has on your castle, you have to have more on a single Primarch to be able to conquer that castle. And the defending owner, not the whole 5-team alliance in total, the defending owner has to have less than 50,000 troops present. So first you have to kill off enough troops to hit the castle guards, and then you have to destroy all the castle guards. You have to bring the defending owner down to 50,000 troops, and the whole 5TA has to have less troops than your single Primarch has, and then you can conquer the castle. This seems very challenging to me, very difficult. I've never actually been a part of a full-on conquer, so um, I just imagine that being very, very difficult to do. And I apologize, I'm a little bit sick as usual. Never get enough sleep, so I'm a little bit congested, so please forgive my voice. So then the glory component, there are some changes in how glory will be calculated. If you go in and you try to attack somebody lower level than you, it may say you only get 80% glory or 60% glory from it. And obviously that's not ideal. Now they're changing it, so it's not technically based on the pure level anymore, whereas previously there was like groups of 30 levels below you. Each group would decrease the percent glory you get by a certain amount. Now they're doing it based on the where did it go? Based on the highest dragon tier that you could access at your current player level, which is determined by the highest level den that you could possibly have at your level. So this is just changing the way that the percent glory is calculated. Now, this is sort of still related on level, but it'll just slightly adjust the groupings a little bit, because you have to be a certain level in order to get a certain tier of dragon. But if you're one level below that next tier of dragon, then you'll be in the lower tier bracket. And so what this means is, if the highest, and they actually go through an example here, if the best dragon that you can hatch based on your level is a platinum dragon, and you attack a player who can only hatch gold tier dragons, you'll get 60% less glory. That's a huge drop in glory. A huge drop in glory. So you definitely don't want to do that. So you're really going to want to focus on making sure you're not attacking players lower level than you, because if you happen to be right on that cusp of the other tier, even like 1 or 2 levels below you could mean a 60% decreased glory. So you just want to make sure you check the new glory percents every time you're attacking a player. Don't just assume, oh, they're level 320 and I'm level 330, so it means I'll get good glory. Now you really got to make sure that you're looking and checking that you're going to get the glory you expect. So I don't know how I feel about this change. I think it's a fair change. I'm not sure how it'll really kind of work out with in actuality. So we'll see. I think that it's reasonable. It's just you got to be a little bit more careful about who you attack. And honestly, I don't think I ever attack anybody who has, well, I guess I do, but rarely do I attack somebody who is that much lower level than me. I'm mostly hitting players that are higher level. But this just like reinforces that you really want to stay on top of breeding. You don't want to fall behind, because if you are level 300 and you could breed, let's say, or you should be breeding harbingers at, let's say, 280, and you're only breeding garnet dragons because you're way behind on breeding, then you're going to be forced to attack much stronger players than you. And if you try to attack somebody who's actually at the same tier as you, then you'll be getting really bad glory. So that's a pretty significant change. And the other thing to keep in mind too is, if you bring support, if you bring backup when you attack a player, whoever the highest level player is that joins the attack, whatever tier they can breed is what will be used to determine the glory you get. So if you have a really high level player join your attack against a level 200 and they're breeding abyssals, say, you're going to get really bad glory for that attack. Another great thing that I think a lot of people are going to be happy about is the 500 plus level. If you were greater than 500, anyone who attacked you would get 100% glory. So a level 600 attacking a level 500 would get 100% glory, and that really didn't seem fair at this point, because there's a huge difference between those players as far as their strength of dragons and bases. So that's being changed. That will be gone completely. It'll strictly be the dragon tier, and I think that's a positive change. I think that's a very positive change. Okay, so the next issue that they brought up was taunters being able to have a low-level taunter really deter people from attacking, because if they had a level 60 player with a taunter full of troops protecting the castle, nobody wanted to attack them because they would get terrible glory for all the troops on that Taunter. So now player level does not matter in attacking Taunters. And I guess what really this means is they should have said the tier dragons. I hope that's what they mean, because otherwise, now that they're changing the dragon tier being the requirement, it wouldn't really matter. So I'm assuming that they mean that attacking any Taunter, even if they're lower level than you, you should still get the 100% glory, assuming your team glory is still 100%. Now we're going to talk about the team glory. That, I'm not sure how I feel about this. This is also going to make a significant impact on who you can attack. Excuse me for one moment. Excuse me. So now the team ranking for whether or not you get 100% glory is also going to be based on the den level. So what tier dragons you can have. Now, I guess they didn't like how the attack power was working for team ranking, and so they're changing it so that it's based on the den level of your team combined. And actually, it's going to be based on the strongest or the highest ranked team in your 5-team alliance. So if you have one really strong team in your 5-team alliance and the rest are kind of lower, and then everyone's going to be judged by the standard of the highest, strongest team as far as which teams they can attack for good glory. So also to note, the top den on the team is weighted twice as heavily as the lowest den on the team. So using this ranking system, you're going to get 30% less glory for every 20 ranks lower that you hit, starting 20 ranks below you. So I'm not totally sure how this is really going to play out, the calculations and stuff, but that's something to keep in mind, that your team, your 5-team alliance, you're going to want your 5-team alliance to have roughly the same den levels average overall, because otherwise it's going to be much harder for you. And actually, this kind of sucks for lower level players too, because if you've got a team mostly with lower level players, but then have like 5 or whatever pretty strong players that are helping that team out, that team is going to be much higher ranked than it may have been with the other systems. So that's also a big change, something to consider as far as how your 5-team alliances are set up. And yeah, it's going to make a big impact when this changes come live. Another thing that was really frustrating for people was they would have other teams in Atlas that they would kind of leave for a short periods of time just so that they can, farm glory more easily. Because if you're on a strong team, you're very limited in the teams that you can attack to gain glory, and because of your rank. And so if you were to go down to a different team temporarily that wasn't ranked very high, you could hit any castle, any team for 100% glory. Now, with these changes, excuse me, sorry, how it's going to work is whatever team was ranked the highest that you were on in the last 30 days, that is going to be how your glory is calculated. So if you were on a team that was ranked 100 in Atlas and you drop down to a team that was ranked 600, if you stay in that team for 30 days, you will still be ranked, you will still be judged for your glory based on your previous rank for those full 30 days. So that's kind of crazy. If you're actually switching teams, it's going to take a long time before you can actually attack the appropriate teams for reasonable glory. But this is a good change in the sense that it won't, it'll really stop people from just dropping out for a day or two or a week just so that they can farm glory more easily. So if that wasn't clear, I'm going to try to say that again more clearly. Within the past 30 days, whatever team you are on had the highest ranking in Atlas. That ranking is what will determine what teams you can hit for 100% glory. So you're not going to want to drop down to a lower ranked team just for glory anymore. And it will take 30 days for it to kind of reestablish your team's rank. And then another positive change is what they're doing to make defending feel better in Atlas, because defending sucks in Atlas right now. Even if you do awesome and you stop an attack, you get terrible glory, because either Either you stop them at like 65%, or you stop 2 of their dragons and they clean you out with the rest, you get bad glory for that. Or if you stop them at 0%, they don't lose as many troops. You don't lose as many troops, is the more important thing. You don't lose as many troops, so you don't get good glory, because glory is based on how many troops you lose. So they're making this a little bit different now. If you win, you take at least 10% of the glory the attacker would have won, plus the glory that you would have normally earned as a defender. And this scales from 10% up to 50% if you stop them at 0% of base destruction. So I'm not totally sure what exactly this means, because it's going to be a lot more glory per troops lost with this change. So how I'm imagining it is, excuse me, if somebody attacks you with 3,000 troops, and they could potentially get 4,500 glory. If you stop them at 0%, let's say you lost 500 troops, you get your 750 glory for that, but you'll also get over 2,000 glory in addition to that. And so what that means is you're getting almost like 3,000 glory for losing 500 troops. Unless I'm understanding this wrong, that makes defending well a very, very incentivized thing now. So I'm going to definitely do some testing with this when the changes come out, and run some defenses in Atlas and see how that really comes into play, and if it maybe is actually a beneficial thing to do to try to earn glory. Because honestly, farming glory by defending is definitely not worth it. And I still see people go out into no man's land with like 50,000 troops on their Primarch and just sit there till they're killed. And it's like, that is absolutely terrible glory. But now, if you're defending and you're actually beating them, there is a chance of good glory. But you're always at risking a stronger player coming in and wiping your base, killing all your troops, and you still get bad glory. But definitely a step in the right direction. And another thing that they're doing is bonus revives for weaker defenders. Now, this is also an interesting thing, a lot of math involved, but basically the problem is that players lose so many troops, like permanent losses of troops that are not revivable, if they're wiped out by like 100% by an attack. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to increase the defender revive rate if the attacker's glory is penalized due to the level differential. And this only applies if the defender is at a castle owned by their 5 TA. So if you're in no man's land, this doesn't apply. But if the attacker gets 0 glory, and the defender would get, sorry, let me see that. If the attacker gets 100% glory, the defender gets the current revive rate. But if the attacker gets 0 glory, it scales up a little bit, and they get extra revives. So basically, I don't really fully understand the math, but what it's saying is if you're attacked by somebody with a higher den level, they're going to get less glory for their attack. And the proportion of glory that they got decreased is going to translate into an increase in the revives that you will get from that attack. So that's a positive change as well. I'm not sure how impactful that will actually be, but definitely in certain situations, it is going to be a very positive change. And for me, I can't think of a specific situation where this has happened a whole lot. But I mean, definitely when you're defending a castle and you're getting attacked by higher level players, I think it's going to make a big difference in that sense. So that is one positive change. Now, and then some bug fixes, which we won't really go into details on. And then here is where the big controversy comes into play. Next season changes. Now these are what they have planned at this point, but because the season is still a month away, there is still time and a chance that these plans will be changed. But these are huge changes. They want to reset all of Atlas every season. This is crazy. And I understand why they want to do it, because Atlas, like they say here, has grown stagnant. And a lot of people are starting to get bored with Atlas. You don't conquer castles, you buy and sell castles. Earning glory throughout the season has come down to glory swaps and castle guard swaps. Very few situations you have where you really need to conquer a castle. You really are incentivized to conquer a castle, especially because of some of the previous things we talked about that are now being changed. But this is huge. So they're going to clear all castle ownership at the end of every Atlas season. Thankfully, infrastructure will not be reset. It will go into storage. So the infrastructure will be saved for those castles. All the Primarchs will be unsummoned. Teams, this is at least one like shimmer of hope. Teams will keep their ending castle bonuses until the next reset. So whatever bonuses you have at the end of this season, even though you lose all your castles at the start of next season, you'll keep the bonuses. You'll keep all those bonuses for the entire Atlas season that comes next. So even if you don't conquer a single castle, that whole season you'll have the same bonuses you had as when you had, even if you had 20 castles. Now, if you only had 5 castles, you go into the next season after the reset and you conquer 10 castles. You will get the higher bonuses from conquering more castles. So that is one positive thing there. Now, what happens to the resources in the bank? I think that the resources, I don't know where I saw it or heard it. It might have been in the forum comment posts, but I think I saw that they're going to maintain your resources in the bank. So once you conquer castles and have access to the bank again, the resources you had previously will still be present. So a couple positives there, but man, people worked so hard to get castles. And good castles. Now they're going to have to fight for them back when the season starts again. This is going to be very interesting. I know a lot of people are very upset about this because they worked so hard to get the castles that they have currently, and now they're going to be gone. They're going to have to fight for them all over again. I hope that it works out okay, and with some of the changes as far as how glory works and how conquering castles works, hopefully conquering castles and fighting for castles will actually now result in better glory, to make it a little bit less burdensome and less frustrating that you have to do this all over again. But it's going to be interesting for sure. It may be fun, but we'll have to see. Once we get past the fact that we're losing everything we worked so hard for, maybe it'll be interesting. It might be a little bit fun, but who knows? Maybe nobody will really fight for castles. They'll just go out and pick a castle that nobody's fighting for yet and conquer them. Just whoever gets there first, gets there quickest, gets the first pick. We'll have to see how it works, but definitely a huge change that will be coming. They're also reducing the maximum castle ownership you can have to 25. So now they say here teams with more than 25 castles will keep them, but they won't be able to take more castles. But with the reset, nobody's going to have any castles, so that is kind of a moot point. But yeah, so teams will have a max of 25 castles. This allows more teams to have more castles, and you kind of have to focus on only keeping the best ones that give you the best bonuses. Another huge change that they're bringing is perimeter travel. Now, this is a pretty significant change. So currently, safe castles is determined by whether there's access by a no man's land or a safe zone. And if there is no access from those regions, then your castle is safe, which means that a different castle has to be bubbled first, or a team has to directly been given access to that castle so that they can go to that castle and then travel to your castle. That's changing now, changing a lot. And now the only way to have a safe castle is by having your 5-team alliance own all the surrounding castles. Now, they gave some examples here. We'll look at this this picture here to kind of discuss it. But basically, excuse me. Let's say that, like in their example, the dot that's labeled as a 1, that is deep into the safe zone, okay? And there's no way to access that castle. If you own that castle, it doesn't mean it's a safe castle anymore. If you or your 5-team alliance do not own that castle label as 4, and some other team owns that castle, then your castle labeled as 1 is not safe. Somebody can travel to castle 4 in order to travel to castle 1. And it seems kind of crazy. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming that they're still going to have to have the barrier of like the blockade. What is it, like the 15 minutes that you have to sit there before you can move on, or it would have to be have been bubbled um, in order for you to get access to it. But essentially, if you want to keep your castle safe, you need to own all the surrounding connected castles, which is pretty crazy. And yes, somebody in the comments is saying that this will disrupt like the mega alliances, and a lot of these changes are definitely going to affect mega alliances, and I think that was one of the primary focuses of the changes. They wanted to um, sort of stop mega alliances from conquering all the castles, all the best castles, and holding on to all of them, and then having access to every single castle that people just put on access to. Like teams were having access to a majority of the castles in Atlas, and so that was definitely a problem. But now let's look at Castle 4. So Castle 4, if you want that one to be a safe castle that people can't just show up to, then you have to own Castle 1, Castle 2, and Castle 5. All the surrounding castles must be owned by you or your 5-team alliance in order for it to be safe. So, I mean, this is kind of cool. It means that you really, there's an emphasis on having castles surrounded by your team alliance. Your alliance should stay clustered as much as possible. It's kind of a cool change, but this is going to have a huge impact on traveling throughout Atlas, and all the safe zone castles are not necessarily safe zone castles anymore. So definitely another huge change that will be coming. Another thing that they're planning on bringing is shrines, and this is going to kind of incentivize, current, frequent attacking of other players. So players in Mega Alliances are ranked in rewards and have gotten themselves in a position where they can oppress all other players in Atlas. So they're still working on like the details of these shrines, but they did mention some sort of incentive to like make you go out there and attack players and conquer more castles. I'm not sure if it's going to be in like the actual Atlas, or there's going to be a separate island where you can go out there and conquer more castles for more rewards, or what it's going to be like. But they're still working on what that's going to come out to be like. And then in the future, they are talking about daily quests to send troops because of the increased troop cap for on the Primarchs and how many can be destroyed. People are really losing a lot more troops a lot faster, and I think PG said that they didn't really look at this ahead of time. They didn't see it in their changes, and it's actually been a significant impact. So they want to encourage fighting more, and to make up this increase in losses, they're going to try to analyze, the kill cap, understand how many troops are being lost compared to how many they were previously, and create potentially a daily quest or login system that will give troops on a daily basis, just to kind of increase the amount of troops that you can get each day and boost the regen rate. So that's nice. More troops will increase the amount of fighting that we can do, and especially if we have to conquer all our castles all over again every season. Troops is going to be a very important thing to continue to build, and they're going to, at least this is what they're saying, they're going to increase our ability to get troops. So that's nice. And then one of the ideas that they got rid of, unfortunately, I kind of like this idea, the revenge flag. We won't spend too much time talking about it because apparently they're not doing it anymore. But if a team attacked you, you would have the ability to attack them back regardless of glory potential. You would get 100% glory, and you could even attack them in a safe zone, which was kind of cool. But that idea is gone. So now reading the comments for a sec here. What about the shards? The entire 5-team alliance is located in one place. no shard bonuses for other types. Yeah, true. So if you have to cluster your team in one location to have safe castles, you're going to have a lot of clusters in a lot of different areas to get the various shard bonuses. So that is definitely something significant that would be a big change for us when we start off the next season. All right, so we're going to go into Atlas now and just take a little bit of look at some of these things, specifically the safe zones and such. So, and we'll answer questions as well as we go. I'll try to be a little bit more focused on the chat now if you have questions. Somebody said, I feel like this makes Mega Alliances stronger. Teams within the Mega Alliance would have more likely than before to trade castles in order to have 5-team alliances own sections within a larger alliance land. So yeah, maybe this will actually make larger alliances stronger in some regards. We'll have to see how that works out. So let's look over here, for example. So currently, the way things work now, this castle here is accessible from no man's land. And I could move into that castle and I could attack them, but I would be at a blockade if there was no shield. Now, because there's shields up, you can access the castles and move through them. But right now, what would be required if I wanted to attack this castle when there were no shields up, I would have to first come into this castle here and bubble it or force the shield up. And then after that, I would be able to move over to this castle. And then I would be able to attack this castle. But now, the way it sounds like the changes that they're making is if this castle is not surrounded by a 5-team alliance, and that means that this castle and this castle and this castle, if all 3 of those surrounding castles were not either that team's castle or that team's 5-team alliance castle, then I would be able to just fly right into this castle and attack them. That's a huge change, and that really limits the safety of most castles now. And people fought so hard, spent a lot of money to get these safe zone castles, and now that's kind of all going out the window, especially with the wipe of Atlas and all the castles being lost. I can't see anyone agreeing to certain castles within the Mega Alliance. It would be a free-for-all unless substantial coordination and agreements are made. I'm not 100% sure I understand what you're saying, but sorry, lots of little teams have deeper safe castles. Sapphire and Plat teams will want those. This will be interesting to see how things pan out. Yeah, well, a lot of those lower teams would want those safe castles, but now their 5-team alliance, you're right. That's what I think that's what you mean. Your 5-team alliance is all going to want those central safe castles, and nobody's going to want to be on the perimeter and have to take the brunt of the attacks. So yeah, you're right. That could be a barrier for sure. So that's a significant change. Like this castle here. This castle currently is very safe. You can only access it if you first get to this castle or this castle. And that takes a lot of effort. Either you have to have access because your team gives you like passage to this castle so you can travel to that castle, or you have to fight your way in by attacking this castle first, this castle first, and then going to this castle, and then going to this castle. But now you can just fly right in, assuming that it's not surrounded by the 5TA. So definitely a massive change there. So let me know in the comments, any questions, any thoughts about this, anything more we can discuss. That pretty much concludes what I want to talk about. Man, that was a really long, sorry it took so long, but hopefully people are interested in discussing this and watching this over. I did want to have a pretty thorough update video on this because these changes are pretty significant. Some of them coming really soon and some of them making a huge impact on next Atlas season. What else can we say? So we can go look a little bit more details. Currently, you can see that all these 100% here on the side here, in No Man's Land specifically, these 100% are based on player level. But now, for example, I'm almost level 280, which means at that point I can have Harbinger Dragons. I'm not there yet, but I am almost there. And that means this level 229, I wouldn't be able to get 100% glory because a 229 cannot have Harbinger Dragons. So automatically I would be getting, what is it, 30% less glory? Or, well, they said 60% less glory. Like, that is a huge decrease in glory, a very significant drop in glory. So definitely a huge impact. Sorry, I see a target. I wonder if I can switch over and attack them quick enough. I can't see the reasoning behind this change. Which change, Muhammad? Do you not see the reasoning behind? X Breck. I hate this change. I mean, I can hit these rank 1,000 teams on tier 4, hiding behind diamond teams that hold the entry point. Oh, you like this change? Yeah, you're right. There are a lot of teams that are hiding behind strong teams because they bought a safe castle. Now they will no longer be able to do that unless they are part of the 5TA and surrounded. Yeah, so it definitely opens up more ability to conquer and farm glory on other teams that are tucked away behind other castles. Adonis, no mercy. The bottom line, no matter how significant the change, it applies to all. Does it benefit the strongest of the teams? That remains to be seen, but seems fair for all. It will definitely change Atlas. You're right. Every team has to deal with these changes. So it's not like it's singling out certain players. And I do think that the strong teams will remain strong. The strong alliances will remain strong. But yeah, all teams have to deal with these changes. So it's just a big change to the game. A lot of people don't like change. I think it'll be interesting. Now, my team, granted, is not like one of the teams that has a whole ton of castles, the strongest castles. We have been getting a lot more castles lately and working hard to get them. But, now it's going to be wiped out. We'll have to see whether this benefits us or not. It may benefit us. It may allow us to conquer more castles and hold more castles in better locations, but it may make it more challenging now. We'll have to see how that works out. Well, targets are gone. Man, I've been having a hard time farming glory lately. One, I haven't had as much time, but two, I just feel like there's not as many options in No Man's Land. And this guy here is too low now. You see, it only gives me 86% because he's too low level. So I definitely need to update this. We'll go, I don't know, 115 maybe. And that'll give me more accurate. Okay. Muhammad, again, the change of the Axis castles. I can't see the reasoning. I mean, alliances will be condensed in small areas. Shard bonuses will be dramatically damaged. Cooperation and travel will become very hard. Yeah, I mean, definitely there are a lot of downsides to it. There are several upsides to it. So it'll be interesting to see how it really plays out. It'll just kind of change the way we have to think about Atlas and focus on Atlas. Puli, having spent seasons getting the castles we got. Sorry, I'm going to jump in this attack too. Oh, I'm trapped. That was stupid. I was already attacking him. Sorry, I don't really understand that. Let's see here. Who trapped me? Can I defeat them? Probably. Let's do it. Oh, but I'm using a freaking destroyer. I'm gonna get bad glory for this, but whatever. YOLO. Having spent... Sorry, I'm gonna have to read that comment in a sec. Having spent seasons getting the castles we've got, time and effort to get them, the land reset idea sucks. Yeah, it definitely does for a lot of people who spent a lot of time trying to earn the castles that they have. Definitely a significant change. That wasn't the smoothest, But most likely I'm either dead now or somebody's already killed off those the troops on the person I'm attacking. Let's see how it goes. Okay, Breck. They need to change the land if they're going to do this. Reset castles at the same time. Each land zone should be a different element, so 5TAs can hold an area and still get multiple shard bonuses. Hey, I did get some glory from that. What do you know? Hey, Breck, that's actually a solid idea. Something definitely worth commenting on the forums to let them know that that's something that we've been, concerned about. I see a sieger there. I wonder if I can get there in time. What the heck? I swear he just moved over here. Okay. Train. Bruce Wayne. This is not yet in effect. Some of the changes that we discussed, the first changes, are going to be into effect soon with the next update, and that is more how glory is calculated. The change with the land reset is coming next season. So the season has a month left. I don't remember what his name was. Obsidian Crest. Some of these, the land reset is coming with next Atlas season. So still some time there for that. Breck, again, they also need to change the grouping of land tiers. Tier 4s around Tier 5s and Tier 3s closer. So teams can hold bigger castles instead of having one Tier 3 and a bunch of Tier 2s. Yeah, you're right. They should also cluster the castles in certain areas so that you can have a variety within that small area that you hold with your team. Breck, if you do have the forum account on the forums, everyone actually should have an account on the forums with their game. You can log in and comment on the forums. But yeah, those are definitely some good thoughts to put in the forums for them to review and consider. But that's a huge change, like switching up all the castles, the tiers and stuff, and the elements. Like that's a pretty significant change. I'm not sure that they're going to want to put all that effort into it, unfortunately. Will teams be limited with the number of castles able to be owned or conquered? Yes. GK, you're right. Yeah, that's like you said, 25 will be the max that a team can own after the reset of Atlas. Actually, was that one of the changes coming soon? Or was that with the next reset? I don't remember which one that was. Or make more tier 5 castles and they be blocked out for diamond tiers that have so many castles. Yeah, I mean, that kind of will be an effect if the diamond teams can only hold 25 castles as well, then maybe they won't be able to occupy all the good castles. So I didn't finish that attack in time. Let's hope somebody's not. Oh, and he's gone now. Man, this I hate farming glory. Anyways, let's just keep an eye on here. Yeah, so those are a lot of good suggestions. I definitely want to encourage you guys to go to the forums with some of these suggestions, share them on the forums. But yeah, I hope this was a helpful video. And hopefully now we're a little bit more aware of the changes and prepared. You can prepare for them a little bit, but mostly everyone's just going to have to take the adjustment and go with it. Bruce, I always thought tiers like Diamond and Sapphire would be limited to attacks to their respective tiers, but I don't know. So, Bruce, they're not necessarily limited in being able to attack different tiers, but the glory that they would get from attacking weaker teams and weaker players would be very bad glory. They would essentially be getting 0 glory for taking over a very weaker team. But they still could do it to take the castle if they wanted it. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, hopefully we all have more access to these better castles. Anyways, I think that's it for this video. we can continue having comments. This video will be uploaded after the live stream is over, so you can continue to comment on that. If you have more to share, definitely want to keep the discussion going, and definitely bring it to the forums as well, because that is an avenue for influencing PG for change. So, all right, one last comment. Do I think people will quit? You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think that if people quit before they try it, then I think that's silly. Um, it's just a new way of playing the game, to kind of spruce things up, make things a little bit more interesting. I think it was a needed outcome to increase activity in Atlas, but whether or not this change was the right one to do so, I don't know, and we'll have to see how this actually works. And I think some people might be really upset with the changes and the wiping all the castles. So some people might quit, yeah. But who knows? Yeah, exactly. People always say they're going to quit, but do they actually quit? Um, that's to be seen. Sometimes people will quit, and sometimes they won't. Premium. Sorry, now I'm going to go try to catch this guy quick. Yes, he is the best to find out the best and latest changes to game and always to make us better as well. Oh, Jason, are you talking about me? I don't know who you're talking about. You're talking about me or Odin, but yeah, definitely um, Odin as well. I like it comes out with great information. He has a very good views on the game to help keep us informed. And if you're talking about me, then I appreciate that as well. I definitely do my best to try to keep you guys in the loop and as well informed as possible. Um, Not only to give you the information that you need, but also to kind of help you with tips and strategies to kind of adjust to changes and such. So, oh, thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. And yeah, who knows? They may not quit, but they're just gonna be upset about it. So that's definitely a lot of the situation is just people don't like change. They don't want to have to adjust to change. And I know, definitely agree. There's a lot of reason for them to be really upset with these changes. Um, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of adjustment. So um, it's gonna be hard on a lot of teams. But I think it'll be fun. Uh, Once we get past the frustration of losing everything we worked so hard for, I think it'll be a fun change to work with. Man, terrible glory. Anyways, hey Vin, nice to see you. You caught the tail end of this stream, but it will be uploaded. This video will be uploaded after this, so you can definitely play it back and add your comments to the comment section. Once again, thank you to all my supporters. Thank you for coming in for this live stream. Continue to share your thoughts in the description below. Head over to the forums as well to share your thoughts and keep an eye out. My next video, or maybe not my next one, but a recent upcoming video I'm working on that was suggested to me is what do you do for time management within, if you only have 30 minutes to play, what would you do with your 30 minutes? And then what would you do if you had an hour? And if you had more than that, how would you spend that time in the game? And I've started working on that. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Share it with your teams. Well, once it comes out, I guess. Anyways, thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate all your support, and we'll see you in the next video.